Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Strategic Action Plan Success Stories Part 2. My name is Sophia Persch, and I'm an intern with the Native Connections TTA Center. On behalf of the Native Connections team and contracting officer representatives, Maureen Madison and John Dunbar Cooper, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. In a few moments, we'll start our presentation. But first, I'd like to review a few housekeeping items. Today's webinar is being recorded, and a replay will be available in the near future. Because we are recording, all phone lines will be muted to minimize outside noise. Please don't hesitate to use the chat box for questions throughout the session. Before we start, it is my honor and privilege to introduce Ms. Etheline Ironclad Two Dogs, who will open our webinar today. Etheline is a member of the Oglala Sioux tribe who resides in Porcupine, South Dakota on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Etheline, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. Good day to everybody. I'm honored to provide this opening for your very important meeting today in my Lakota language. Tunkashila na unchi na hiata ekta wopilat kanka nkini chapile ampetu omni chele uhapiki oyakapi hechel oyate ki iwashte pikte. Namitaku ye pitona anabopta Nakapi ki ish ahena wangwake wichhozani okiwi chapie wopila kanka ichichie. Grandfather, grandmother of the spirit world, I give you thanks for this day. I ask that you bless our gathering today, that bless everyone who is listening so that ultimately the people will benefit from this. All my relations, thank you very much.
Thank you, Etheline, for starting us in a good way. Hi, everyone. This is Sarah Pearson, and I'm a Native Connections curriculum developer and subject matter expert on tribal action plans. I have a master's degree in education psychology and over 20 years of experience in youth programs, including tribal youth programs in juvenile justice, behavioral health, prevention, education, and youth development. And today I'm joined with Sabri Perico, who's a Native Connections grantee technical assistant. Sabri?
Hi everyone, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're calling in from today. My name is Sabri Perico, and I serve as a grantee technical assistant for Native Connections grantees across the country. And this is my second year as a grantee technical assistant. And I have experience in research, evaluation efforts in the content areas of early childhood learning, healthy development, and child and family well-being. I have a Master's of Arts degree in Native American Studies from the University of Oklahoma and a Bachelor's degree in Indigenous and American Indian Studies from Haskell Indian Nations University. It's wonderful to be speaking with all of you today, and I just want to thank you for joining us for our second webinar. This is part 2 of our discussion with our guest panelists, and we're going to continue to talk about the journey of strategic action planning. And this is a discussion around the development of strategic action planning with Native Connections grant programs across the U.S. So in spite of the pandemic, Native Connections grantees and prevention work is in progress and going strong in tribal communities. And this webinar will really allow us to explore further how strategic planning has been going in several of these grant communities across the United States. Sarah?
Thanks, Sabri. In part 1 of this 2-part webinar, the panel discussed items like the use of how they use their CSA and the CRM to strengthen their strategic action plan. They talked to us about how they align the cultural activities to their CRM scores and how they track their impact of their SAP goals and objectives, as well as how they engaged the community in SAP development and made adjustments to the SAP due to the pandemic. Sabri?
Thanks, Sarah. All right, so we're going to get started today with an informal panel discussion among our 5 grantee panelists who have kindly agreed to share their experiences with their SAP development. All of the grantees that we have on our call today are in their 5th year of implementation. However, each panelist has joined their Native Connections grant program at different times during implementation and offers varying levels of expertise. So this discussion today will really flow from a handful of questions that we've put together for our panelists to consider, and we hope that you'll join in with your questions and comments as well as they talk through their responses. So panelists will discuss attracting and engaging older youth in activities. They're going to be able to talk about experiences enlisting elders in programming, and they're going to share tips and tricks for using their time wisely and effectively for these sustainable successes with their grant programs in their communities as well.
Thanks, Shabri. Before we introduce our panel, we want to add that we're joined by our intern, Sophia Porsche, who will be helping us capture your questions and comments from the chat box as we move through our panel discussion. Also, we are joined by the supporting GTAs for our panelists, who we want to thank for helping us find this amazing panel to share their experience with us today. Now to our panelists. First, we have Melanie Stevens. She's the Youth Support Services Coordinator with the Confederated Tribes of the Chehalis Reservation. She's focused on traditional plants of the Chehalis tribe and how they can be used to keep people healthy. Their SAP focuses on working in the community garden and with plants in class with both youth and the community to support healthy activities for youth and families. Then we have Helena Darrow, Program Manager for the Seattle Indian Health Board, who has focused on programming Native youth wellness and understanding. She uses a culturally responsive model of care and adapts program strategies on an ongoing basis due to the impact of COVID to address mental health issues in the Seattle urban Indian community. They recently revised their SAP to ensure they had strong, SMART goals to make the biggest impact on their efforts. And we also have Amber Hansen. She's the Suicide Prevention Program Manager with the Skokomish tribe. She's focused on working with youth virtually and in-person work to tutor youth and help them develop skills for self-care and mental health. They are focusing on professional development through conferences, whether they be in-person or virtual, to enhance their skills and delivery of services to the community. Shabri?
All right, we have Mary Horse-Chief, Program Director for the Cherokee Nation. They focused on coordination, collaboration, and partnerships with community coalitions, traditional communities, schools, and other service providers to support youth. Their program plans to train and certify staff and community volunteers as QPR and mental health first aid trainers. We're also joined today by Lisa Schumann, Suicide Prevention Program Director for Lactic Lambeau. They've been focused on working with schools in the youth center as well as collaboration with various community coalitions on their prevention efforts, specifically around crisis protocols. They've also focused their efforts on educating and informing their community through trainings and other targeted events. We're so excited to have all 5 of you join us today, and I'm really excited to hear more about our panel questions and having some discussion. So let's jump right in. We're going to get started with some questions around attracting and engaging older youth. So youth really need community-based support now more than ever as they transition into adulthood, and communities really need youth support to be leaders as well. Youth engagement should be part of the strategic action planning process and should be pretty intentional. So many of you probably consult your community systems analysis to look and see what partners could be helpful in planning and promoting youth engagement. So we're curious if older youth, these youth that are transitional aged, 18 to 24 years old, find their place and how they find their place in this rapidly changing world and in your community, and how they've been able to engage with your program and how you've been able to get them involved with your program. Have you been able to provide them any support along the way, and how have you helped them be able to succeed? And if you could, maybe you could share some best practices and some tips when developing your strategic action plan objectives or goals around how you've been able to specifically include youth engagement in your strategic action plan development. So I'm going to hand it over to Melanie and see if she could get us started off.
Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. I came on board with the Native Connections grant in year 4, and we had helped to engage youth 18 to 24 by having them attend conferences, working through the youth council, and our QPR classes in the community. And we also offered our traditional knowledge classes that were open to all ages, trying to get a cross connection between our youth, our transitional youth, and our elders to work together to learn about their plants and how to use them best in their families and in their communities. We also have an advisory board that we have requested membership from all areas in the community. And the biggest activity that we have currently is large group participation as our suicide prevention awareness walk. And this, we received more of the 18 to 24-year-olds that were able to come because the walk is usually later in the day and when they're out of class or out of work. So we've been trying to build on that. We also have monthly cultural kits that we are distributing for our adults and youth in the community. And we usually have about 20 people that will sign up for those each month. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Helena.
Thanks, Melanie. Those are some really awesome things your program is doing. Let's see. So some of the activities that the Seattle Indian Health Board has been doing to engage older youth is we've developed an internship for 4 youth around college age, so 18 to 24, with our Urban Indian Health Institute. So our internship focuses on public health, and our project staff will supports these interns through professional and career development. They get to shadow various staff within the Urban Indian Health Institute and the Seattle Indian Health Board in like epidemiologists, evaluators, and then some of our really awesome directors in leadership as well. And some of the ways we've connected this with Native Connections even further is we have a few of the interns support research and development of different of our post-mention plan, for example. So we had them, research post-mention protocols and do some meetings with post-mention experts in the area to help us develop our plan. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to Amber.
Awesome, thank you. That's amazing. I love the intern idea. Some of what we've done to really engage our older youth, our youth program here does weekly mailouts. So we've been putting in extra information just around mental health for that age range, and just making sure that they are, getting our resources, information about the people that we have working here in the clinic. We have really made an effort to make sure they're invited to all of our trainings and activities. So if it's a suicide prevention training, drum making, basketry, our talking circle. We've also used the older youth, the 18 to 24-year-olds, as chaperones on any of, the conferences that we've attended, and kind of had this sit down with them and talked about the expectations, them being a role model and a support to our youth. So it's just a way to empower them and let them know, you're important and we need you here, helping us guide our younger generation. We also are going to be implementing for the remainder of year 5 digital stories, and really using our 18 to 24-year-old youth to either share their stories or even help with the filming for the younger generation, and to have those conversations with our elders we're going to involve some of them too, so they can, use their stories and put out good words and thoughts for those with suicidal ideation or substance abuse. So it's just really getting them involved and on board, and sharing our ideas with them and asking them what they like. And I've had conversations with a lot of the young men in our community who are around that 20-year-old range, and I've asked them, I said, what can I do to get you guys involved? What is something fun that you'd want to attend and join in on? So just really having those conversations with them. And with that, I'd like to pass it on to Mary.
Thank you, Amber. Those are some really great ideas and things that you guys are doing. When they asked me this question, I was thinking about over the years the many different ways that we worked with youth, and it just kind of goes back to some of our basic community development training that we did with our staff, and to teaching our staff how to work with communities and stuff. And so actually, one of the first things that we've learned over the years to do is that when we're getting ready to do something, the first thing we do is pray about it. And so, and what that does is that helps to activate that spirit. It helps to activate that spirit of, and make everything good about what you're getting ready to do. And I consider youth as a community. Yes, they're part of the community, but they also are a community unto themselves too. So one of the things as a part of the assessment that we do is we tend to look for champions. And while we're doing our homework, our assessment part, because we do follow the strategic prevention framework model, which is very similar to this model of Native Connections. It has a assessment in the beginning. One of the things that we do in the beginning is we do our homework, which is basically what that CSA is, that you're looking at resources in the community to see what you got and see what's going on, right? But in the meantime of that too, we're looking for champions. And some of these communities I'm familiar with, so it's not like it's my home. Some of them are not, because we have a pretty large area that we cover. So what we're looking for is a champion, somebody that's a leader in that community. And you'd be surprised, because sometimes those champions aren't who you think they are, And a champion will get you where you need to be in that community a lot quicker, just with their presence, with their knowledge, with their connections. And so if you can identify a champion, of course, right off the bat or in the process, that always helps. Identifying a champion in a community of youth will get you everywhere. We've got a champion right now in Claremore, Oklahoma, who we started working with her about 5 years ago, and she ended up becoming Junior Miss Cherokee and going off to college. And now she's working on a couple of projects in her own community, and is, she's just out doing everything on her own now. I mean, talk about sustainability. I mean, that's what you want. But getting back to the process, I really wanted to say most of all is that probably the most important way of attracting and engaging older youth is just to ask them, to get them together, and even take them through their own SWAT process so that they can do their own SAP. Don't just come in and say, we never come in and say, hey, we're here and we're going to do this stuff for you, and this is what we have because we're so awesome. They're the most awesome people in the room, and we make sure that they know that. We just ask them, and a really good way to do that is to take them through a SWAT process. What do they think? What do they know? and what would they like to do about it. Another thing after that is we probably offer training opportunities. We've sent youth to training. We've gone with them. We've provided training with youth. One of the trainings that we've provided or set up is the Native Hope training with Clayton Small at our Sequoia High School. We've taken kids to planning training with the Community Anti-Drug Coalitions of America. They have a National Youth Institute which provides a week-long training. Another way to engage that age group is we found is that if we provide a setting for families, for instance, our youth and elder camps, the entire family will come and be engaged. Our youth and elder camps are opportunities for people of all ages to learn and experience and make and participate in Cherokee ceremonies, Cherokee arts and crafts, and to be able to learn about the language through storytelling and activities. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Lisa.
Bonjour, everyone. For that age group, we did some digital storytelling with them, and we worked with our Glucomas and Dodd, which is a treatment center, and our Healing to Wellness Court, and they both places worked with the drug and alcohol problems. So that age group would talk about their stories. Some of them didn't want to share just because it was pretty personal. But now we're going to be working with the youth center and getting in over there to do some more talking circles with our youth, and hopefully we can get some of those older ones to come in and help, like mentor with our younger kids that are needing help with school. You.
Thank you, panelists. So let's talk about including elders in programming. So panelists, the Native Connection Grant seeks to increase the community's level of readiness to respond to suicide and substance use in tribal communities. So when you're developing your SAP, you involved a range of community members, including elders who have so much to give. Can you share some ways you managed to get elders involved in programming? And can you share some of the lessons learned in elder engagement? Let's start with Melanie.
Thank you, Sarah. Our advisory board has a strong representation of our elder population for the Chehalis tribe, and those members always have great feedback and ideas. Our community traditional knowledge classes are always well attended by the elders in the community, and we also do classes at the elder meal site before we shut down for the pandemic. And in March, we have an Elder Appreciation Day, which we hand out gifts from the traditional knowledge classes at a luncheon. But during the pandemic, we've not been able to do our classes, but we were able to put together kits that had traditional weaving and beading and necklaces, and also teas and salves and syrups that were distributed to people that signed up for them. And also during the pandemic, I was able to put kits together that were sent home with their meals, so that they still had their teas and they still had their syrups, their elderberry syrups to take to keep their immune systems up and strong. So we've tried to keep connected with our elders, even though we haven't been necessarily able to do in-person classes. We're trying to take their ideas and expand on them and bring them to the community. And I'm going to pass it over to Helena.
Thank you, Melanie. So at the Seattle Indian Health Board, we have a strong elders program here for our elders to come and receive lunch and various programming opportunities. And we also have an elders council from the elders program. So what we have done is our youth council has there's a lot of collaboration and partnership with the health board's elders council, and so we put together these intergenerational knowledge exchanges between the elders and youth councils. It's a little bit tricky with technology with elders sometimes, but our last event focused on food sovereignty, specifically the history of fry bread, and some of the big takeaways that me and our other project staff have come away with are that elders really want to share their knowledge, and we just need to make this opportunity happen. And then another great point was that we realized that these elders have grandkids, and it's a really great way to get even more youth involved in your programming as well. So I will pass it off to Amber now.
Great, thank you, Helena. So one of the big things that we've been working on and we're bringing back that we had in the beginning of our grant are the digital stories that I mentioned that we're going to be doing with our youth. We're going to be also including the elders in that again. Even if we're just using clips from our previous films, we have some great footage of them just discussing suicidal ideation, whether it was their experiences or what they've witnessed in the community and substance abuse, with just some great words for our youth to encourage and inspire them. We've also used them so many times and invited them out for our drum groups and our stick game, and the youth really love it. And we've actually asked the youth, moving forward, would you like this to just be youth, or do you like the adults coming? And they said they liked them coming. They liked it because the elders, they're just really fun, and they bring this really excited, happy spirit and laughter. And the youth really liked hearing their stories and their traditional stories. And then one of our most successful events that we've done a couple years ago, we did a showing of a movie. It's a documentary actually called Dawnland, and it was about the Native children that were ripped from their homes and forced to assimilate into white society. And at the end of this showing, we actually had Tracy Rector. She was one of the producers for Dawnland. She came and she spoke, which was really exciting. And then we had a few of our elders do a panel. So they were actually able to talk about their experience out here in Skokomish when they were taken away and living off reservation, and then what it was like for them to come back as adults. And two of the people that were on the panel were actually brother and sister, and they were separated. So it was, really powerful. And we had over 100 people attend this event. I think it was one of our largest. So it was really exciting. So again, if you guys are interested in looking that up, the film was called Dawnland. And I think you can do like a showing in your community, or you can buy the film. I definitely recommend it though. So we really do our best to get our elders involved. When we haven't been able to be in person a lot lately, but another way that I've been able to reach out to them when we were in person is just attending our elders lunches, which we have 3 days a week, and specifically handing them flyers and sitting down and having conversation with them. And when I was able to, I'd even take some of our youth around just to invite them, like, hey, tonight we're having our drum group, you should come, or hey, it'd be really great, I know you're knowledgeable in this, can you come and teach us? So yeah, we're just out a lot in our community and just connecting with them face to face when we're able to. And with that, I'd like to pass it on to Mary.
Thank you, Amber. Well, when I think about working with elders, whenever we're getting ready to do like an activity, cultural activities, of course, that knowledge all comes from the elders. So they're very involved in it. And trying to think of, I used to actually be on the board for the Cherokee National Treasures, which is like the highest honor you can give a Cherokee person, an elder that has is very good at what they do and has passed on that knowledge too. And so what we do is we partner with these other programs. We have a number of programs at Cherokee Nation that work with elders, and that even our first youth and elder camp, we partnered with several programs that came together to be able to do this huge camp. And we just put all of our resources together. You know, elders just want an opportunity to share their knowledge, basically. And if you give them the opportunity and the, basically if you build it, that's what we found is that they will come. I guess if you have any do's or don'ts, I guess, just to be prepared, and be inclusive. That's what we've always found. And be positive, and be true to your word, because if an elder doesn't know who you are, they're going to find out who you are, and they're going to, they don't want to just 9 times out of 10, they don't want to be a part of something that isn't true to them. So with that, I'm going to hand it back.
Thank you, Mary. So with us, we had a couple GONAs in our community, and we had some of the elders attend that. So it helped us with our TAP, and then we were involved in our TAP too. And we send home mailings. We send some information in mailings with our elders. We need to get more involved with working with our elders, but with the COVID now, it put a little damper on it. We're hoping that soon we can get back into our elders building and work with them more. That is it.
Thank you, panelists. That was really wonderful. I heard, this is what I heard, that it's such an important connection that elders bring. Elders have grandkids who can also get involved in programming. They have the knowledge to support programming, and elders can get involved with like the youth and elders camp, but it's important to be inclusive, be positive, and be true to your word. That was really helpful. Thank you so much. Turning it back to you, Shabri.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we have, one more panel question, well, several of them that are in support of our last panel question, which is really around writing a strategic action plan and your overall, just some guidance and some tips and tricks that you've been able to pick up along the way when developing a strategic action plan. So I might suggest that writing a SAP together as a team is just maybe one tip that could help build trusting relationships, maybe increase community involvement, build trusting relationships among your staff that you work with, maybe raise awareness about your program if that SAP writing is together. Maybe it can help the sustainability of positive community change. that's really created by your Native Connections Grant project. So maybe one tip that I might suggest is that writing a SAP together is wise and could hopefully really affect positive impact for your Native Connections project. So I'm hoping that all of you may be able to share some other tips and tricks and some nuances for our participants that are on the call today for developing a strategic action plan that have really helped to make your efforts stronger and strengthened positive change in your community. And what are elements of planning that have been particularly successful for you guys and that other folks should know about. So Melanie, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Thank you, Shabri. I think one of the biggest things that I've found is flexibility in working on the SAP and just working your Native Connection grant, because you're going to have things that will happen. A class may not go quite right, or a meeting may fall through, or people may change their ideas and flow in the direction that they want to see the program going. So it's good to be flexible and open to people, your advisory board or your elders or the youth, when they give you suggestions that may not fall completely within the direction or vision that you're having at the moment. Give yourself credit, even if it didn't turn out the way you were expecting it to. You gave it your best effort, and the best thing that you can do is, if it didn't work out right, is to learn from the things that went wrong and to improve them the next time around. Reach out to other grantees. The most helpful thing for me, since I've started with this grant, is being able to meet monthly. In the beginning, we were able to meet in person, which was wonderful, to go to Squaxin or Skokomish and be able to meet with everybody and talk about what we were doing with the program, different things that we were trying, different directions that we were going in, what worked, what didn't work. And then when the pandemic hit and everything was shut down, we were able to still connect through Zoom meetings and still reach out to each other and support each other. Share your ideas and what's going on, struggles, accomplishments. Find the people that are part of your cohort or even other cohorts to be able to help you with what you're doing. And this past winter, early fall, I was able to request technical assistance and have Shabri and Chanel come and help me with my SAP to help develop it and take all the great ideas that I had been given by the advisory board and youth, and look at the direction that we wanted to go for the final year for the grant, and to be able to help put that into a final form. They are your greatest resource, so make sure that you reach out to them. And no question is a silly question. Communication is the key that you want to bring forth, and don't forget to breathe. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Helena.
Thank you, Melanie. We also had an in-person GTA visit, and it was extremely helpful for us as well. So I guess I would just like to second that as well. The Shabri and Chanel and Isabel were so wonderful to helping us develop our SAP. I would really emphasize leaning on GTA support for SAP development. They're a really great resource to use to create really realistic and timely goals, and then action plans and activities to make sure you can meet those goals. Some other tricks or tips that I thought might be helpful to share were, learning to build off of previous events, thinking about, well, what went well, maybe what didn't go so well, so what can we change next time to make this even better? And then one really important point is plan ahead and plan for just about anything to go wrong. Always have like a backup plan, and always have an activity on hand just in case you happen to have extra time because of some unforeseen issue that pops up. Found it to be very helpful. And I will pass it off to Amber.
Great, thank you. I just want to say all the ideas that both of you shared are right on point. Definitely, using the support that you have, either within SAMHSA or within your tribe. I can say that a lot of my support has even come from my mother. She also has another job that works with the youth. So I constantly use her for bouncing off ideas, or just, saying, have you heard anything? Is there anything going on with the youth? Anything that I can, throw extra support out there for? Meeting with the other departments. I work a lot with our youth program. So I am constantly like emailing them, checking in to see what they're doing. I do meet with Melanie monthly. I'm part of that little group, and we've invited the people that work in our youth program to join in on our calls, since we all work so closely together. Because sometimes our youth programs doing entirely different events, but there's a way that we're able to still work together, even if it's just providing extra resources or being a volunteer for one of their events. And then also just really talking to those in the community that you're working with. At the end of some of our events, we've handed out surveys, and one of the questions that we've asked many times are, what things would you like to see in the future? What topics are you interested in learning about? And they're actually really interested in getting a lot more trainings or having more guest speakers out. They've asked for things that I've just wanted to implement, but didn't feel that I wanted to constantly have that same theme over and over, but it's what brought them out in the first place. So that was really exciting. Definitely using my advisory board. We meet quarterly now, but they've provided a lot of feedback and support, just sharing what they experienced by attending some of our events, and any feedback if they have youth in the household. And then I also meet weekly with my supervisor and just kind of talk about what's been going on with the grant and how I'd like to move forward. She knows the community very well, and she's been really supportive. And just talking with other people in the clinic who might be working with our youth, whether they're coming in, for, a dental checkup or medical, or, whatever the reason may be. And just kind of seeing, is there anything that they're noticing, any trends amongst the youth? So just having those conversations with everybody and anybody. I think a lot of people are excited about the program, and they'd love to hear your ideas. So just share your ideas and get feedback. Yeah, and I think that's it for me. I'd like to pass it on to Mary.
Thank you, Amber. One of the things that's always in the back of our minds with pretty much everything we do is to build capacity. With everything that we're doing, we want to build capacity in that community. So instead of being of the mind that I'm coming in and I'm doing this thing here, what I'm doing is I'm building a relationship with this community, that my champions in this community, and we're all doing this together. So that may involve delegation. It may involve taking a back seat and letting somebody else come forward. It may involve of course, training. But what we're trying to build is sustainability, right? And real sustainability is the local resources in our people. That's probably that's the thing money can't buy. And most of what we do, most of what we can do doesn't actually cost anything, you know? And that's true sustainability, is building the capacity of that community or that group that I happen to be working with. So it's a real partnership and it's real relationships. So everything that we do is we try to build relationships. We build relationships with every opportunity we can, including our partners, our other Native Connections partners out there. You know, without those relationships, it would have taken me a long time to get started. I mean, you know, my other grantees here in my partners here in Oklahoma that had been doing this for a while, those guys really helped me out, and we were able to partner on several things, including question, persuade, and refer training with 2 other tribes, and bringing in the youth the youth Native Hope training in the schools. Just you know your community and be positive, and always know who you represent. You know, I always tell new staff when they're coming in, you know, that you represent the Cherokee Nation, no matter what. You may think you don't. You may think that you're so-and-so, but no, in the community, you represent the Cherokee Nation, and your behavior represents that. You know, a lot of folks don't even know this or realize it, but, you know, a lot of you probably grew up knowing that, you know, you represent your family and your tribe and your community, right? Well, not everybody gets that. So your behavior is what you're bringing to the table, your reputation. And your reputation is based on your behavior. So always be yourself, but at the same time, be your best self. And, you know, just remember that everybody knows and everybody sees you. So try to be positive and bring your best behavior to the table. That's all I guess I need to say about that. Those are probably some of the best tips and tricks that I was taught over the years. Thank you. Sending it back to Lisa.
Good words. Good words, Mary. Thank you. So with us, I think working with our advisory board, they help a lot with that, and collaborating with other programs. Like someone else said, you know, making sure if they've done it before, the ins and outs of everything. I have an evaluator. She does an awesome job with helping write the SAP and gives all kinds of information and ideas on what we can do. She's been helping with SAMHSA things for like 30 years, so she knows a lot. I think our program wouldn't be able to go anywhere without her, and just working with other people, other Native Connection people too helps. That's it.
Well, thank you, panel. That was wonderful. So, Shabri, I think it's time for our last chance, your last call for questions and closing comments from our panel or from our wonderful list of participants. We've really covered a lot of ground: older youth, getting elders involved in programming, and juicy tips and tricks for doing good in your programming. Shabri, what do you think? I'm not seeing any questions. Do we have any questions from our participants or panelists? Okay, with that, we brought it to a close. We covered a lot of ground. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Let's see what we've got, some upcoming events. I'll turn it over to Sophia. Sophia?
All right, well, thank you again for joining us for Strategic Action Plan Success Stories Part 2. Please keep an eye out for the upcoming webinars, Culturally Adapting Evidence-Based Practices, Practicing Traditional Ways During a Pandemic, Suicide and Prevention Among LGBTQ Two-Spirit Youth, Supporting LGBTQ Two-Spirit Youth in Our Communities, and Youth Leadership Webinar Series Part 1. Registration links for all of these webinars will be sent out in the weekly digest. Thank you. See you next time.